good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I'm Mark Josephson, founder of Castiron. Welcome to the next and probably the best ever edition of Castiron Bites. I'm so excited. Look at that smile. Esther, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name because I'll get it wrong, but Esther is joining us today, and you can find Esther. Well, Esther, why don't you tell us who you are and where to find you?
All right. So my name is Esther, and I am a baker. I love helping other bakers along the way, sharing all of what I've learned and what we've learned together as a community. So I'm basically a baking business coach, and I help baking business owners run profitable and rewarding baking businesses that get them paid.
Yes, thank you. An amazing coach. And by the way, you can work with Esther at esternanus.com, Ester, N as in Nancy, AN as in Nancy, US.com. And we're going to put a link below in the comments to a free cake pricing guide that Esther has created. That's super helpful too. So thank you. So Esther, question for you. How did you get started in baking?
Okay, so my baking journey was basically a transition in my family because we were at a place in my personal life where I really had to make a decision for our family, of course, with my husband, where we had to make a decision to be together. So we were working after graduating and finding jobs. So we landed job. We had to, unfortunately, work in different towns. And so our biggest wish was to be together as a family because at that point, we already had our first son. We have three boys.
Oh, me
And
too. Three boys also. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so for me it was really painful to see daddy go to work after the weekend. He would come visit. Let me say visit because because of the situation. And we were so sad to see him leave, and I did not want that for our family. So we really were pushing so that both of us can be in the same. My husband tried to come where I am to find a job, but it didn't. It was temporary. But then for me, I've never made that push. So we had to make that radical decision, and really my husband supported me in this, and it was my decision to actually leave my job.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so one of the things that I had to do was like, what can I do? So I was praying about this. I was like, Lord, please give me a business idea so I can put my hands to work, so I can really just get creative and have a profitable business that I can work on from home. So that is how I started my baking business. While I was at my previous job, or my job back then, I decided to start a cake business. I did all the research, and honestly, it was a lot of YouTube learning and many trials, basically trial and error, a lot of costs that went into it, and it was a whole journey. Moving to Windhoek, that experience got so much better because I had some time to practice my craft in the town that I was. So moving to the new town, I had that experience. And one of the things that I learned is in my day job, I've been a researcher. Please, apologies for the light. I think it's getting darker.
It's okay. You look great.
Okay, so in my previous job, or like what I studied is part of it is research. So I'm great at doing research, I think. And I love doing research. So that made it so much easier for me to, go around and find everything that I could. I learned that I got so much done in a short space of time. And I thought, if I can put this together and share it with the world, with those that are on the same journey as me, and help them shorten that learning curve, then it would make me happy, right? And it would also help somebody else. And that is how I actually went into coaching, helping other baking business owners, just shorten their learning curve and just prevent all the errors that I did on the way.
That's amazing. I think there's so much in there to talk about. One is the moment when you realized that you needed to start a new business so that you could be together as a family. There's so many of our customers and our bakers who are doing this out of necessity, not just because they want to, make fun cakes or for parties, but it's a crucial part of living the life you want to live as a family. And so we see a lot of that. And then to give back to the community on the lessons you've learned, Esther, what are one or two things that you learned building your business that you apply to your coaching clients? Like,
wow, okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Common things, the big things.
All right. So the biggest thing that I learned running my own business that I've basically shifted to my clients, or what I'm pushing to them, is to really focus on the business side of things. I'm sorry, Mark, maybe we have to cut this part. Am I visible?
Yes, you're busy. You look great. It's dark, but maybe you open the door. Can you open the door and maybe turn the light on in the?
Okay.
No, it's fine. We can see you. We can lighten it up.
Okay. If you can do that, that's great. Okay.
No problem.
All right. So one of the things that I learned really is, as a baking business owner, to start focusing more on the business side of things. I think by nature of what we do, we are creatives. We love what we do. We like to play around in the kitchen. We like to make our cakes look great. We love the art of baking. But there is by doing that also, we are exerting ourselves too much into the baking and cake decorating part without really focusing and dialing into the business side of our baking businesses. And that is what I learned, that if you can really dial into the pricing strategies, the marketing strategies, how do you put yourself out there? How do you make yourself visible in your local community? If you can focus more on that, then whatever it is that you are doing can sell. Another thing that I learned is that it's really not all about the pretty cakes. It's not all about how elaborate your cake designs are. I think people really genuinely want to sometimes just support your business, or they just love home made products. Okay.
Yes.
So I think an overemphasis of home bakers on the crafts and the beauty of baking is one of the biggest mistakes that we make, and we really lose out on how much we could have went further, or basically how much we would have scaled our businesses if we could just focus on the business side of things, our finances, our marketing, our branding, and all these aspects. So that was my basic learning, and I think that's what I'm transferring to my clients.
That's amazing. So I'll just remind everybody you can book time with Esther and take her classes and get coaching from Esther at EsterNanus.com. We'll put links below. What you folks didn't see was Esther trying to explain to me how to pronounce her last name. Esther, how do you pronounce it? Because I didn't get it right.
So my last name is in Kwekwe Govap. I think it's one of the few languages in the world. Let me say the only, because there's two, where there's clicks, there's a nga, there's a nga, there's a nga. So there's Kwesan, in the Kwekwe language. Okay. So my surname is pronounced as Nanus, Nanus.
News. Okay. Well, I respect it. I respect it too much to get it wrong. Your clients are all over the world, correct? You coach people everywhere in the world. A lot in the US for sure, right?
Yes, and a lot of my clients are coming from the US. So basically what I've done is I have been part of, as a baker, you want to connect with other bakers. So you end up in Facebook groups, you end up in different WhatsApp groups. And this is how I started to connect with bakers. And that is how we also build our online community of bakers, by really just joining other online communities and collaborating, and working with other coaches, or just having those tight circles with them. And that is basically how we grew our audience as well.
Yeah. Esther, you talked about the focus on the business side. What's a tangible example, a nugget someone could take from this call and say, and apply when it relates to that? It can be small, but something that's meaningful.
Okay. I think focusing on the business side of things, I think if I've ever said anything on this call, it could probably be, I think, let's talk about mindset, because mindset is one of the things that home bakers really struggle with. The fact that we think that our bakes are not beautiful enough to sell, they're not good enough to sell. And so because of that, there's that overemphasis, as I said, on the baking side of things. So if there's any golden nugget I can just give right now, it's to work on your mindset, because your mindset will translate into the rest of your business, whether it's your pricing, whether it's your marketing. It will make you as a baker, or it will break you, right? So you will not be able to price your cakes right if you don't have that mindset of, why does Louis Vuitton charge that amount for their handbags and I cannot charge an X amount of money for my baked good. And sometimes, as I said, people really want to support us. It's about how we position ourselves as bakers. It's about how we brand ourselves, and it's about how we speak to our clients when they come to us. Sometimes we really just need to help them to understand what it is that we do, how much time we are putting into our baked goods and our craft, for them to understand. It's not always that they don't want to pay. Sometimes they just need to understand that this is what we do and this is how we do. And I always say it comes from how you pitch. It always comes from that very first call or that text message or email when they are asking for a quote. How do you position yourself? What type of language do you use? That really will make or break the sale.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's so true. And what we see at Cast Iron is mindset is so important. People want to, we see a lot of bakers who are reluctant to charge as much as they should. We have some bakers and folks on the platform that are very expensive relatively, and they are the ones that do the best. And there's not necessarily a huge difference in the quality of the product. It's the mindset, it's the brand, it's the language, it's the confidence that sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. I find personally anyway, and and these are special treats, special food for special events. And so we have the data. We'll talk later, but I mean, we have the data that proves that people really do pay more for homemade cakes than they do for store-bought cakes, for sure. And they're happy to do it. And they really are. Esther, how would you describe your superpower as a coach? Why should someone think about hiring you as a coach?
I think every coach is different, and I think it's about just finding your crowd. What is it about me that resonates with what it is that you do as a baker? So I think for me it's about my ability to speak. I think that is my superpower. I love speaking. I love talking, and that is my background. I've been in the mentorship business, small business mentorship space, and I think that is my superpower. I love expressing myself, and I think the best thing about it is that I'm also a baker, and it comes from that heart that I know the pain points of bakers. I know what it is that they go through. I have felt it. I have been there. And I can also say that I'm still there, and it's not about I have made it, I've arrived, because we have a community of bakers, and the resources that we have is not just my knowledge, it's also about others that are in our community and bringing all those resources to help the next baker, basically. So I think, yeah, that's my superpower.
I mean, I'm in. Sounds great to me. And everyone can go to esternanus.com and learn for yourself. Esther has been super generous. We're going to put a link to a free cake pricing guide, and we're going to run a special to give away one free online course to the Cast Iron audience when this goes live. So thank you for your generosity there. Esther, we're now at the fun part. I'm going to ask you 3 rapid fire questions. You don't know what they are, and they are not stressful. They're easy. But I ask everybody the same 3 questions. And the first one is, what was the best meal you ever had?
Okay, so I went to this German when I first went to Germany, I went to this cafe, and they like had the best mac and cheese. Like, just I cannot forget about it. So yeah, it would probably be that.
I love the reaction, because I asked that question because I think the food has this power to convey and transfer emotion and love and these experiences, and you immediately in your brain went right back to that meal. I could tell. That sounds great. I love it. Okay. Esther, what's the best advice anyone has ever given you, and who was that from?
Mm. My dad, he told me, and it's in Afrikaans. He said, knowledge and hard work, it will knowledge and hard work will give you a bright future. So in Afrikaans, it's like kennis en harde werk sal vir jou 'n goeie toekoms skep. So that was what he always used to say, and that really encouraged me as a child to read more, to learn more. I was like a very curious child, so yeah.
I love it. It sounds like your dad and my dad would have gotten along. My third question, Esther, is who is somebody that inspires you? Who's somebody that in this community that we could perhaps reach out to and feature on an upcoming episode of Castiron Bites?
Mm. It would be Chef Schoenberg.
Okay.
I think you covered her.
Yes.
Chef Schoenberg. I love her personality and I love her baked goods.
Yes, Amanda, Coach Chef Amanda is super special. We love her. She's been on Cast Iron Bites, and she's actually speaks at some of our events as well. And Esther, we'd love to work with you too. So, thank you so much for spending time with us. And you're doing it so everyone knows in a car at a time that's not super convenient for you because we're just excited to do this. So, thank you for your generosity. Thanks for the spirit. Thanks for the tips. And everybody, go to Esther nanus.com, ESTERNANUS. We'll put links below on everything that we do so you can get there and work with Esther yourself because it's a home run. Great job. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye bye.